We are getting the Beige Book drip feeding economic activity expanded at a modest pace, and they say overall they're releasing that. And what do you make also of Raphael Bostic's comments?
Well, obviously, the CPI took the Fed by surprise. They were planning a 75 basis point move, and that still makes perhaps the most sense. But we do have a downbeat Beige Book report here that does suggest additional concern is coming to the policymakers. As you mentioned, they said that economic activity expanded at a modest pace on balance, but they add several districts report growing signs of a slowdown in demand, and contacts in 5 districts noted concerns over an increased risk of recession. So there's some concern there. Labor markets, they say, still are seeing employment rising at a modest to moderate pace, and conditions remain tight. However, nearly all districts are reporting there is improvement in labor availability and weaker demand for workers. So the strong labor market that the Fed's been counting on may be weakening just a little bit. Most districts are still reporting wage growth, and a third of the districts are reporting that employers are considering or had given employees bonuses to offset inflation-related costs. And if that has to continue, that's bad news for inflation. And on that topic, they say substantial price increases were reported across all districts at all stages of consumption, though 3/4 noted a moderation in prices for construction inputs, such as lumber and steel. We know those were going on. They say increases in food, commodities, and energy costs remain significant. So we've got inflation, we've got a bit of a weakening labor market, and we have more districts reporting concerns about recession. That is not going to sit well when the Fed gets together at their conference room in Washington on the 27th.
Well, when the Fed does get together, which of those anecdotal evidence pieces do you think will stand out most to them? Is it those fears about recession, or is it that concern still over these rising prices?
Well, it's a combination of both. The rising prices seem to be feeding into the concerns about recession. And of course, the Fed is worried about inflation expectations. Friday, we'll get that Michigan number on what consumers think. If people are starting to get discouraged because they think inflation is becoming embedded and start chasing inflation with wage increase demands, then the Fed has a real problem. So they're going to move very significantly, very aggressively. But whether they do 100 basis points or not remains to be seen.